In 2016, WhatCulture Wrestling started WhatCulture Pro Wrestling, aka WCPW, a first of its kind wrestling promotion as it was being run by YouTubers, wrestling YouTubers. In 2019 though, the promotion closed its doors, and since then, no other wrestling YouTubers have really attempted to start their own promotion. Until now. What's going on, guys? It's Tom, or Top 10 Wrestling, and no, I'm not starting my own wrestling promotion, but today we're going to be discussing the debut shows of DPW, aka DEADLOCK Pro Wrestling, the brand new wrestling promotion being ran by wrestling YouTubers. Before we get into the video though, make sure to like and subscribe with those notifications on, because only a small percentage of you watching these videos are actually subscribed. So if you do end up enjoying this video, then just feel free to subscribe. It's free and you can always unsubscribe. Anyway, onto the video.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you are watching Top 10 Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
The DEADLOCK podcast was started by OG WWE Games YouTubers Pulse and TonyPizzaGuy, as well as former WWE Games employee Marcus Stevenson. The first podcast was uploaded following AEW All Out 2019, with these three being the original lineup for the podcast. This would change quickly, however, when Marcus had to take a step back from the podcast due to work commitments, and John Blud of newLEGACYinc, another OG gaming YouTube channel in the WWE scene, was brought in as the new permanent third host, and this is the lineup we all know and love and that we would see on the podcast today. Just so you're aware, by the way, I listen to the pod every week, I'm a big fan, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. In the podcast though, the guys would often discuss and joke about DPW, a wrestling promotion that they would be starting, and as a listener it was never really clear if they were joking or not. However, it was definitely something that all us listeners definitely found interesting and would not be opposed to if they were to start their own wrestling promotion. And well, fast forward to November 2021, and the DEADLOCK podcast would officially announce the formation of DEADLOCK Pro Wrestling, their real wrestling promotion, not an E-Fed, real. They announced they would be running tapings for their weekly YouTube show DPW Fire, all leading up to their first big event, DPW You Already Know. They began to announce numerous big names for these shows, including Rosemary, Luther, Calvin Tankman, Andrew Everett, Ryo Mizunami, Blake Christian, Colby Carino, and more, as well as a World Championship Eliminator Tournament. So how about we run through and discuss these DPW Fire episodes. So DPW Fire episode 1 featured Lucky Ali defeating Kid Bandit, who Kid Bandit has pretty much gone on to become the heart and soul of DPW. We had a first round match in the Eliminator Tournament with Bojack defeating Josh Fuller, the master of the Overdrive, and another first round match with Andrew Everett defeating Rosemary in an absolutely awesome match that I would recommend to anyone. DPW Fire number 2 saw the first women's division match with KZT defeating Angelica Risk. We saw the debut of Chris Danger as he brought out The Reality, who defeated the Delinquents of Josh Fuller and Mikey Banker, and another DPW World Title Eliminator Tournament first round with Calvin Tankman defeating Donnie Ray. On to DPW Fire number 3, we saw Kevin Koo defeat Diego Hill in the Eliminator Tournament. We saw Rachel Rose defeat Kat Spencer, she is a fantastic heel, Rachel Rose is, and The Reality once again defeat TSF, made of Hunter Knott and Rosario Grillo, which featured a post-match run-in from Luther. And then on the final show before You Already Know, DPW Fire number 4 featured the semi-finals of the Eliminator Tournament with Andrew L. Everett defeating Calvin Tankman in a great match, Luther winning a DPW Battle Royal, and Bojack winning the other semi-finals, setting up Bojack versus Andrew Everett for the main event of DPW You Already Know. These shows were really fun. They're all up for free on the DEADLOCK Pro Wrestling YouTube page. I'll leave that link down below. And how about we go ahead and check out DPW You Already Know. It's time to watch this. DPW, you already know, is live from the Raleigh Convention Center, and we are opening the show in a big way with Ho Ho Loon versus Kid Bandit. I want to say that these two have just great chemistry, and I really love Kid Bandit's gimmick of being the protagonist of pro wrestling. It's a gimmick that really, how has no one done it before? Because it's just so simple and so effective. He uses the fans' energy to win with the Angel's Wing and the Naruto Run People's Elbow, which is such a funny move. There's a babyface promo, and then Lucky Ali attacks Kid Bandit. He hits a huge suplex onto the chair, which is a mad spot. And then Donnie Ray runs out and goes to fight Ali, and they've got a match also featuring Diego Hill, because next match is Donnie Ray versus Lucky Ali versus Diego Hill. Diego runs out and hits a moonsault to the outside to take them both out. They get in the ring and the match has finally got started, and these three just have a pretty crazy match with each other. Lucky Ali is a really good heel. All three of these guys are guys I wasn't familiar with. I believe they're part of like the North Carolina scene, which is why they were involved with the show, as these shows are based in North Carolina. And all three really impressed me, especially Lucky Ali, who gets the win after he breaks up a pin the last minute and steals the pin for himself to get the win. That son of a bitch. Next up though is some women's division action, as it's Rachel Rose versus KZT. Rachel Rose is a really great heel and already one of my favorites in this company. I'm a big fan of Rachel Rose, big Rachel Rose guy, and her and KZT had really great chemistry. There was some really good technical wrestling in this match. It was a really clean match, but at the same time KZT was trying to kill her the entire match, so it was also very personal and hard hitting at the same time. The story of this match is that KZT is just locking in all kinds of submissions, but Rachel, through the skin of her teeth, is getting out of them until KZT gets a mounted triangle locked in on Rachel Rose and Rachel taps out. KZT gets the win. Big fan of this match, and I'm just a very big fan of Rachel Rose. Bend the knee. Next up, we have the DPW Battle Royale, as Josh Fuller is out first, who is another guy I absolutely love. He might be my favorite in this company. He's got the awful AJ Styles cum style shirt on. Entrant number 2 is Tenchi X, and very quickly into the match, Josh goes for the overdrive but doesn't get it. John Blud absolutely hates this guy, and the overdrive is going to be a common theme of this match. Number 3 is Calibus Kingston. He decimates them both and awaits number 4, who is Canada's own Skylar Mack, making it Jamaica versus Canada. Number 5 is Wavy Will Wolfen. Still no eliminations yet, as number 6 is BK Westbrook. He clears the house with some really awesome offense. Number 7 is Kat Spencer, and we get some intergender action going now. Her and BK go at it and she nearly eliminates him. He strikes her from behind and now she's pissed. Meanwhile, Josh Fuller goes for the overdrive again but still can't hit it. Number 8 is Yosifa, who is one scary looking dude, and he throws out Skylar Mack for the first elimination, and he then eliminates himself because he clearly doesn't know the rules and is trying to kill Skylar, who dips. And then right from there, the camera cuts to Josh Fuller, this sick fuck, who goes for a double overdrive on 2 different people but fails to hit it again and is powerbombed. I love this fucker. Number 9 is Sawyer Wreck. She comes face to face with Kat Spencer, which is a showdown in a half. And the final entrant at number 10 is Luther, which of course it is, who goes and sits in the front row before getting in. Kat Spencer and Wavy Will are eliminated off camera. Sawyer then eliminates Tenchi X before Luther eliminates BK Westbrook, making the final 4 Luther, Calibus Kingston, Josh Fuller, and Sawyer Wreck. Calibus manages to eliminate Luther in a huge upset, but then Sawyer Wreck eliminates him, and it's now down to Sawyer Wreck and Josh Fuller, who of course goes for the overdrive once more, but Sawyer uses that to throw him over the top rope and eliminate him. Super fun battle royale, and that was the correct winner in my opinion. Sawyer Wreck looked really great out there, but I was backing my boy Josh Fuller to win that still. Colby Corino versus Gringo Loco in a hardcore match is next. These two were meant to have different opponents. Colby Corino was meant to face Alex Colon. and Gringo was meant to face Frightmare, but their opponents had to pull out because of COVID, so they got paired against each other, and this match goes crazy from the start because it's a hardcore match. There are chair shots and spots, and Colby Corino tornado DDTs Gringo through a door on the outside. Just crazy right from the start. Colby Corino brings out a bat duct taped with carpet strips, which is just a mad sight for a weapon. Gringo moonsaults Colby through a door for a huge near fall, and there's just loads of door offense in this match as Gringo hits a huge power bomb off the middle rope through another door, then breaks Colby's weapon over him. He hits the X-Plex and Colby kicks out at 1. What is going on? In the end though, Colby pile drives Gringo through a door to get the win. What an absolutely just messed up match this was. So awesome. I am a big Colby Corino guy. Blake Christian versus Calvin Tankman is up next. Blake Christian you might remember as Trey Baxter in WWE, and Calvin Tankman is very big in MLW. This match is a chop fest and just a super hard hitting match in general. The story being told is that Calvin just absorbs all of Blake's strikes and is catching his top rope moves and then hits huge moves on him as Blake progressively and slowly but surely is damaging him and breaking him down, and eventually starts finding counters for Tankman's reversals. Moment of the match is when he hits a roll through Death Valley on Tankman, goes for an all hard over the top to the outside, which Tankman catches, and then Christian tornado DDTs him. So sick. And the story of Christian just fighting his heart out in this match was so awesome, and I can't stress enough how hard hitting and awesome this match was, and they're both such great baby faces. And after numerous close calls, Tankman gets the win with the straight jacket pile driver. Both guys came out looking great, and this was debatedly the match of the night. I'll discuss that at the end because there were many matches of the night. Next up we had Yu versus Ryo Mizunami, which this match started out as a chop fest as well, and Ryo Mizunami, who's someone you might be very familiar with from AEW, I believe she actually faced Shida at Revolution last year for the women's title after winning the tournament, and Yu is a Joshi wrestler having her first match in the States ever, I believe. And this match was a tiny bit of a cool down from the last match, but I don't think that was a problem because they still had a good match and delivered, you know, what you know they can deliver to you. And any match that came after Blake versus Calvin was always going to be somewhat of a cool down, but these two killed it regardless, and Ryo gets the win in a hard hitting match. And now it's time for the main event, as it's Bojack versus Andrew Everett for the DPW World Championship. Everything has led up to this. Bojack does the Ric Flair transition onto the apron, which gets a really big pop. It's a big versus small match, but both proved that kind of like anything you can do, I can do better. Like Andrew Everett was hitting power moves like Bojack would, and Bojack was hitting high flying stuff like Andrew would. And speaking of high flying stuff from Andrew Everett, he is hitting moonsaults all over the gaff. Inside the ring, outside the ring. At one point he goes for one and misses, and then Bojack hits the pounce, which really popped me. Big ups to Monty Brown. Andrew Everett takes the strap down and then puts it back up. He goes to the chokeslam, but Bojack hits his own, and Everett kicks out at 1. Everett then hits his own from the top rope for a crazy near fall, and then hits a moonsault for another crazy near fall. And then it is Bojack who goes for a moonsault but misses. Everett then hits the toe-touching shooting star press, which is so impressive, and how has Bojack kicked out of that? He goes for the 630 but misses. Bojack hits a lariat for a near fall, then immediately hits the Bojack bomb and wins. Here is your first ever DPW World Champion, Bojack, and a very worthy person to be that first champion. I wasn't familiar with Bojack before the DPW Fire tapings, but I was so impressed by him, and he was absolutely the right choice for their first ever champion. A great match to end a great show. I think my match of the night is still Blake Christian versus Calvin Tankman, but I liked every match. I really liked Rachel Rose and KZT for the story it told. I thought the main event was just the definition of a World Championship main event, and there wasn't a single bad match on the show. Top to bottom, DPW, you already know, completely delivered. So yeah, that was my video on the stuff that DPW has done so far. If you want to check out DPW, there'll be a link down below to their YouTube channel. And yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I'm really excited to see what they do next. But that has been it for me. Like the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe for more. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye and keep on rolling.